Bob Catley, the man, the voice, the legend. Bob, welcome to Rock Mania. It's a pleasure.
Hello, everybody. Hello, nice to talk to you, mate. Yeah, yes, I'm in England talking to you. So, nice to be interviewed by a South American radio show. So, yeah, nice. Hello, all your listeners. Hope you're all okay, and I hope I can answer your questions for you. Okay, mate.
Magnum, new album. How are the works? What can you say to the listeners about this new work of Magnum?
Okay. Well, yes. Tony started writing songs for it last year, and after we finished doing some shows in the UK, we had Christmas off, and then I went into the studio with Tony in late January to have a listen to what he'd written so far. I'm usually the first one at the band to hear things next to Tony, and thought, here we go again. We've done 22 albums so far, so this will be our 23rd Magnum album. Wow. And so we got 10 songs, and we started working on some of the vocals, some of the lyrics, which takes time for Tony to come up with the words for me. But when he's got a few songs I can sing, just part of, just to see what direction the album's going in, really. And then he'll go away and write some more lyrics and some more parts of the songs. And so it goes like that. And I go in and sing probably a chorus, or maybe a verse, whatever he's got written for me to sing, So it's early days, yes. We're working on 10 songs, and wish us good luck, because it usually does. We won't be probably done till the autumn. So we got Rodney Matthews doing the artwork once again, which he's done for us over many years, many albums. So, and that's, so we're waiting to see what that looks like. Him and Tony have had a chat about what some of the songs could be about, and lyrically, and then he goes away and does sketches and sends the sketch up to Tony to see if he likes it or not. So we're waiting for something to come up to have a look at, to go, yeah, because we didn't have Rodney Matthews last time because he wasn't available, but we've got him now for this new record. And here we go. And our keyboard player's waiting to hear the songs when there's enough vocal down there for him to listen to. And when I'm away, because I'll be going away soon with Avantasia for 3 weeks all around South America, as you might know. And they'll be carrying on when I'm not there with keyboard, some guitars and that. And then I'll carry on singing when I get back, which is like the second half of May, after I get back from South America with Avantasia. And here we go again. And that'll carry on till the autumn, like I say. And then that's usually due for release probably January 2024. And that's about it at the moment. It's a bit early to tell you anything else, really. So it's early days, and it's sounding good. And the songs are really starting to kick off now that we're getting the vocal down and some proper guitars for me to sing to. So it's looking good. It's boding well, and it's going to be great, as they usually are. I mean, the Magnum fans love our albums over the years, and we thank everybody for sticking with Magnum all this time, through thick and thin. They've been great, and including fans in South and North America and all over the world, really. So cheers, guys. Here we go again. Album 23 being recorded this year. And that's about it, I can tell you. Okay.
And Bobby, what is the secret for a band to stay alive for over 50 years?
Yes, it's when you say it like that's a long time, isn't it? Wow. Well, me and Tony have always got on really good, and we've bumped into each other years ago, 50 years ago. We started working together in as a resident band in a nightclub all those years ago, and then we started out on the road and up and down the country and treading the boards, as they say, and we come up with songs, and we started doing proper music, proper albums, and all those years ago in the mid-70s, 1978, the first album came out, called Kingdom of Madness. And we took it from there, really. We've been with several record companies. We've had several lineup changes. But me and Tony are still there, thankfully. So that's the story there, really. And everybody loves the music. All the guys that have been in the band before, we've had several keyboard players and a couple of bass players and a couple of drummers. But there's only one guitar player and only one singer. That's me and Tony. So Magnum will go from strength to strength. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't carry on for a long time yet, you know. And the lineup we have now with Rick Benson on keyboards, he said he's very glad to be in the band, and he's always wanted to play with Magnum, and now's his chance. And Lee Morris, our drummer, he's always been a bit of a Magnum fan, and he keeps saying, I'm the last drummer you'll ever need, Bob, don't worry about it. You don't need another drummer now ever again. So it's lovely to have that positive attitude from the rest of the band, the guys in the band, you know. And Dennis Ward on bass, everybody knows Dennis. He's played with probably everybody by now. And he's our new bass player. New bass player. He's been with us for about 3 years now. He's great. He's American and he lives in Germany. And he's a real great singer, great bass player. So we've got a fantastic lineup, and the albums sound all the better for it, with the people with the right attitude coming into the studio and on tour and rehearsing. And because once you start in a band, it can be quite grueling, you know. It's not easy. There's a lot of work. There's a big work schedule with doing an album and rehearsing for a tour and traveling around and all that. So you need the right people. You've got to have the right attitude to be in the band, you know. And anybody from any band would say the same thing, you know. And it helps it all go more smoothly. So that's about that, really. So that's the secret, having people like-minded like us in the band, and me and Tony wanting to work together still all these years, and why not? We have no reason to stop yet. And it's something we've always done, you know. It's not a job, it's a vocation, it's a lifestyle. It's God-given, you know. I mean, we should be so lucky to be still doing it at our time of life. Yeah, that's about it, really. We love what we do, and we're going to carry on doing it, come hell or high water. I mean, it doesn't matter about the record industry, the state of the record industry. I mean, not so many people are buying albums these days, but we're lucky still to have a great record company behind us, which is important for the longevity of a band as well, in answer to your question. SPV in Germany have been great with us and have stuck us through everything, and we're still with them, and they're very supportive for us, you know. So we couldn't wish for any more input from an independent label. They're fantastic, and they operate like a major label, you know. We've been on a few of them, I think Ollie Hahn's a bit of a Magnum fan. He runs the company, and he's a great guy. So you need somebody who likes the music that the band puts out, you know, and that also helps for bands to keep going, and it gives you faith in what you're doing and to carry on doing it, you know. So that's the secret to that.
While Magnum was inactive, you released 2 albums with Hard Rain. Tell us about that time.
Oh, nothing much to say, really. Hard Rain. That happened when Magnum split up in the mid-90s, and Tony carried on as a band called Hard Rain. some songs for another Magnum album, first Hard Rain album. His guitar and his brother Rob Barrow on drums, still on keyboards, and me and Tony. And it was good for the time. We enjoyed it. It was a little bit different to Magnum. It wasn't supposed to be Magnum. It was hard and a bit more. It was good for the time. And we did 2 albums, and two back of those albums. We're outside of the UK, so it was a limited appeal. And the second album, the second Hard Rain album, I started to lose interest really, and I wasn't really into what we were doing at the time, and I told Tony that, and he said, "Okay, fair enough." So I left the band and I started working with other people doing solo stuff, solo records. I did 6 solo albums, and then Tony got in touch with me and said, "Would you like to do Magnum again?" This was like some years later. I said, yes, please. And so we started doing Magnum again. And the first album we recorded as Magnum after all that break was A Breath of Life, it was called, album. And then we, like we'd never been away. So yeah, that's the story of Hard Rain. And it just wasn't for me. And I thought they would carry on because they had a girl singer. There was 2 singers, not just me. And I thought they'd just carry on without me, and make her the front man, the front woman. But Tony lost interest, and so he didn't bother carrying on with Hard Rain. But it was nice to hear him again after all those years and start Magnum again. So there you go. That's what happened there. And it was good at the time, but it didn't last long. Just the 2 albums. Yeah, but okay, that's about it really.
And in your solo career, as you said, 6 studio albums. Do you intend to release something solo again?
Not at the moment, no, not in the near future. I'm far too busy. I've got enough to do. Magnum is all that matters really. And I'm lucky to have Avantasia on occasion, now and again, and Tony's fine with that, and he knows that I go with Tobias Sammet and Avantasia, and it's a big production, big number, and he's really pleased for me to be doing that. But anything else would just get in the way of what me and Tony are trying to do. If I started working with other people, not Tobias Sammet, he's fine with that. That's cool. But anybody else, if I tried to go back to like doing solo records, it wouldn't work. I mean, Magnum would not be able to cope with that because it's too much. You have to put a lot of effort and commitment, and you can't. I couldn't divide myself into that many pieces. So I'm happy. You want a happy life. You don't want to overwork yourself, overload yourself, doing this and that and the other. I mean, I know some people can and do it, and that's fine for them. But for me, I've got way enough with Magnum's future commitments coming up, and Avantasia, that takes me away for quite a few weeks on occasion, every few years. So that's enough, and I'm in a very happy place, and I wouldn't want to go anywhere else. I've done the solo album thing. Maybe in the future, I'm talking about now. I don't know what's going to happen with anything in the future. So things do change in the future sometimes. So maybe in the future, who knows? Never say never. But at the moment and in the near future, I can't see me doing anything solo-wise because there isn't room for it. But that's all I can say I can only look at the present situation.
The partnership with Tobias Sammet in Avantasia, which dates back to 2002. How did you start working together?
Yeah, Toby got in touch with my manager, Annie, and he's a bit of a Magnum fan, so he says, and he was interested if he wanted to know if I was interested in singing something for him, some tracks or whatever to see how it got on, how we could work together. And I listened to what I enjoyed what he sent over for me to sing way back then. Yeah, 2002, blimey. And and I said, oh yeah, I like this stuff. So it wasn't like joining another band. It was just like a session, So it started out as just like a session and do a couple of tracks. But it just got more from that. I really enjoyed doing it. And Toby wanted me on some more songs, and the song that has come to be known by me singing, it's The Story Ain't Over, with an EP in 2008. And then I just carried on being on the albums. I've done a song on every album since then, and as much as the touring as I could possibly do, without stopping Magnum doing anything, of course. And so that's how we met, and through my manager, Annie Minion, and who's going to be with me when we come to South America soon. So that's how we started, and we get on great. And he reminds me of me when I was his age, when I was younger. He talks. He's very funny. He's quite a comedian, and he writes great lyrics. And considering he's German and he's writing in English, it's a fantastic thing to be able to do. I mean, I couldn't write songs in German because I'm English. No chance. So I think, so he's very talented guy, Tobias Summers, and I love Avantasia, and we'll get on fantastic. And I love the way it's like one big happy family when we travel around the world. God. And he looks Avantasia. Avantasia does well, does like big venues, and you get looked after very well. It's very nice to be part of Avantasia. And yes, I couldn't think of anything nicer. And then I come back to my own band, me and Tony's band, Magnum, and I'm very happy with that situation. And so long may that last. I love Toby. He's fantastic. He's my good friend. And I shall be seeing him soon when we start rehearsing for this South American tour very soon. Yeah. And I look forward to seeing everybody again. We haven't done anything together as Avantasia since last summer. We did some festivals all around Europe. So we're going to meet up in a couple of weeks' time and have a rehearsal, and then off we go. It's going to be fantastic.
Brazil is waiting for you, my friend.
Great, fantastic.
What do you do to keep singing so well over the years? Do you have any special care with your voice?
No, not really. No, I've been lucky with my voice. It's done me good. I mean, I started off pretty average, I think, back in when many years ago. But I stuck at it. I mean, I wanted to make myself better, so I could earn more money because I was a better singer. I put my mind to it, and I just kept going and different bands and improving and just doing it on the stage and in the studio. And the more you do it, the better you get, hopefully. And I had some influences from the 70s. Paul Young was one influence I had. Paul Rodgers, another one, and Mick Jagger, and just a way of singing and putting the lyrics across. And Ronnie James Dio, I thought, was a fantastic vocalist, and I took a lot from him. He left an impression on me. I met him a couple of times, bless him, when he was alive. Great guy. And but I've never had a problem with my voice. I've been lucky with this. The worst thing a singer can do is to shout in a situation, like in a gig or a bar or wherever on tour. And so that's the only way I look after my voice is by not thraping it, not shouting, because other people do it, and when there's loud music on that, and I can't do that. I have to just keep my mouth shut. So that's the best way I can look after my voice, is by not exerting it too much. I try and save what I have for when I need it, you know, not just you abuse it. You can't abuse your voice. It's not like a guitar or a drum kit that you can abuse, but very sensitive vocalists are, I think. And I know a few, and I think they'd say the same. You just got to watch it, and you can't give it all in the first show, you know, the first gig, because you'll have no voice for all the other shows. So you have and use your voice to sing. You know what I mean? You can't. That would destroy my vocal. Destroy my voice completely. It's very sensitive, your vocal cords, so you have to be careful. But I don't do other things. I don't do those warm-up things. Kip Winger tried to show me how to warm up once, and I just kept laughing things he was doing. Kip Winger from Winger, you know. But he was trying to help me, but it just sounded like a cow mooing, and I couldn't be doing it. It was too funny. It was hilarious. So I don't do that stuff. But I do. I walk around with a little Jack Daniels and Coke and with ice in it before the gig starts, before the show, before we're on the stage, and I'm just humming, and I just warm my voice up slowly and gently, you know, and just hum and all that. I mean, Michael Kiske from Halloween, he used to get his ukulele out and do Elvis Presley songs to warm up backstage in the dressing room. You know, love me tender, love me true. And it'd be great, you know, it's like listening to Elvis Presley. And he does all those high notes, you know, in Halloween. And then he does that lovely low stuff, gentle stuff that Elvis Presley used to do. So we've all got our own little routines, you know, before we go on stage. So I think that's... yeah, okay. Does that answer the question?
Bobby, tell to us, what do you like to do when you are not involved with music?
I try and do as little as possible. I don't have any hobbies. I mean, you know, I go away quite a lot, and I'm busy and that. When I come home, I don't do anything. I go over the pub that my daughter runs. Her name's Robin, and she's the manager of the pub up the road from where I live. So I go in there and just, you know, have a quiet drink and talk to people and that. But I don't go to gigs. I don't go and see bands. I mean, it's enough to be doing what you do, you know, when you're surrounded by music 24 hours a day. The last thing I want to do is go to and watch another band, really. It's the truth. I'm sure they're all very good, but I can't be asked to come out the house. I want to go home. And I like being at home, you know. I live in Tamworth and in the West Midlands, near Birmingham. And I like coming home, and I don't want to go anywhere else, apart from go for a pint or two over the pub. And I buy a film now and again, watch a movie, you know, and buy an album from if I've heard something on the radio, but on my record. But I don't, you know, I don't spend a lot of time looking at music because I'm, you know, you need a day off. You're surrounded by it all the time, so it's enough to be doing what I do. And I appreciate other bands, of course, and I've seen a couple over the pub, good bands, but I don't go to gigs, I don't go to concerts, I don't go to the NEC, I don't go to, you know, big venues, I don't go for a night out because I've had enough. I can't be doing that. But if I see a local band over the pub, that's different, you know, that's just like, no pressure, no sweat. It's just up the road from me, so I'll just walk up there, no problem. Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's about it, really. I'm pretty boring, actually.
If you could be part of any band in the history of music, which band would be and why?
Rolling Stones.
Why?
Why? Because what a fantastic band in the 60s. That's when I started being in a band in the 60s. And if imaginary question, yeah, I would have liked to have been Mick Jagger in the Rolling Stones. Mick Jagger's my ultimate hero. Yeah, I want to meet him one day. I hope I do. It's fantastic, and he's the reason I joined a band in the first place. So, in answer to your question, it would have been the Rolling Stones, and I love the Rolling Stones. I always have done, always will. And yeah, the music they play in all these years, fantastic, and it's just got me going. It put me on the stage. That did. That's the reason I'm still here. That's the reason I started, and I'm still here. Is Mick Jagger and in the Rolling Stones. Yeah, that would be my answer to you.
Another imaginary question, okay. Bob. If you could live inside the cover art of any album in music history, which would be and why?
Live in the artwork. Well, yeah, I would like to live. Well, we did an album called On a Storyteller's Night in the 80s, Magnum, by Rodney Matthews, and it was very a bit like a scene out of Lord of the Rings, if you can imagine that, the front cover, and little strange people all on a big table drinking ale out of mugs, and a roaring fire, and the storyteller sitting at the end of the table, and all these weird creatures sitting around him listening to him. It's a lovely cover. So yeah, I would have liked to have been in that cover with a mug of ale, sitting by the fire with a pipe. They got these long pipes and wisps of smoke coming out of it with like fingers, and it's quite eerie looking. But it's probably the best known Magnum album cover, probably I would say, on a Storyteller's Night. So yeah, that'd be the one I would like to have lived in, as you put it. Yeah, first strange. Yeah, okay.
Bobby,
yeah.
Do you have a dream for your life, for mankind, for the band? Do you have a dream?
To achieve your dreams, to be happy, to be in love, to have a great life. I have. I'm lucky enough to have all those things. I love my children, my grandchildren, the band, the Magnum fans, Avantasia fans. I mean, I'd like people to be as happy as I am. That's my wish. And for people to get on together and, you know, be good people to each other. That's what's missing a lot sometimes in the world. People are just terrible to each other, which isn't great. And I know that I'm not being realistic, but I wish the world peace and happiness, you know, and everybody I know and all my friends and family. And I want to carry on and have a lovely life, and I should be that lucky to be alive in a few years' time. I want to still be here and enjoying my family, my grandchildren, see them growing up and turning into young adults. And so, yeah, be nice to each other.
Amazing.
Peace and love.
Perfect. Peace and love. Bob Catley, thank you so much for this interview. It was a pleasure for me, and Rock Mania is always available for you.
Thank you very much. All right, I'll see you on tour then. See you when we get to Brazil. Thank you, Amber. Yeah. Bye-bye, mate.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.